Hi everybody. This is probably what you're going to see in a lot of my videos. I have 4 little doggies and they have completely saved my life. This is Sugar Bear. Her little sister, which is her sister from the same litter, is always on the other side of me sleeping here. Well, you guys, this is the first time. This is my second video, and may I just say that I really do not know what I'm doing, but I feel such a need to tell my story, not for me to get sympathy, but for me to try to help somebody else. To try to keep my story short, I was a manager of a store, and during that period of time, we were told that there was a gunman that had been robbing several areas. As a manager, they came around and tried to tell me, how dangerous he was, and tried to let me know what I needed to do to protect my own employees, which I spent that whole day and that whole next day to do. Trying to keep this simple and rolling. That about 2 days prior after that happened, I get going to work an hour early before my employees because I had a lot always to do before the doors can open. And I heard a noise, and it was just really sudden that I realized, oh, Lord have mercy, this is going to happen to me. I live in Missouri now, but I have been born and raised as a country girl in Missouri, and you can't ever take country out of anyone. That's my philosophy. I always had my dad install one important factor in me, in my soul, deep in my soul. He's always like, sis, if anybody ever comes up to you with a knife or a gun, if they're wanting to take you in another location, then that means, then worse things are going to happen, and most likely the survival rate is not that much. And I just kicked into overdrive. He came up from behind me. I heard a noise. He's over 6 feet tall, and I'm 5'3", weigh about 130 pounds at the time. And I felt the gun stabbing in my back, and it's hard to describe what it is when you think that your life, is passing before you. But instantly, how I got twisted around, but I got a hold of the gun. And during that process, I never let go. I got slammed into the mall doors. I got slammed into the ground. I did not feel any pain at the time because it was just adrenaline running. Okay, and what felt like 10-15 minutes probably was only 3 to 5 minutes, or 3 to 2 minutes. Once he left, I went through the mall doors. It was kind of an abandoned mall at that time. The store inside, they hired me to build it up, which I had. And it was a long walk down the opposite direction until there was a big grocery store. That was all that was there. Found out there was not one camera to be had. I remember being in shock, and I remember my husband there. I remember the police there trying to tell my story. About half the day later, I went home. Wasn't until that next morning that I woke up, and I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. I called my doctor, which took me out of work immediately. I remembered so worried about my job and my employees that I walked sideways, barely into work, listened on a conference call, and then I told my boss, listen, I need to go home. I have a doctor's note. And, they weren't that really supportive. But at that point, things were going through my head I didn't even understand. I left work, and I never have been back. And that's been almost 10 years. I was a salsa instructor. I worked 70 hours a week. I was good at my job. I made great money. Everything that I loved in life. I had my own business. I bred beautiful Maltese and Yorkies and Shih Tzus, and they were my passion in life because I love animals more than anything I can ever imagine. Slowly, right after that, getting test after test, I ruptured disc in my back. I've had back surgery, neck. I've had 2 shoulder. I have holes in both of my shoulders where I've tore the rotary cup, and one shoulder had to have 2 surgeries. And a week after, I noticed symptoms came out, which immediately I was told that I had fibromyalgia. It wasn't actually until a few years later, after staying in my house, afraid this vibrant girl could just gather everybody together and have the funnest time of our life, started hibernating inside of my house with my dogs, and I didn't go anywhere. And I don't even remember how long it was, but I remember my husband always telling me very emotionally, when am I going to get my wife back? Because that just even went over my head. I didn't even comprehend what was going on. Several times I did want to take my life. My life was over, not to be able to work, not being able even to walk to get out of the bed, not even able to take care of myself, surgeries and everything put together. You guys I know out there have a lot of stories, and I want to get to every one of your story. My goal is different. I want to interview as many people as possible, and hopefully we can get our story heard, maybe by writing a book, getting it published, and whatever it takes. So you guys hang with me, join me, and let's fight together. Now, this I know this is going in already to so many minutes, but here I am 10 years later. I have never went back to work. 5 years ago, I filed for Social Security disability, and I've had 3 court hearings. You're always denied twice in California. I got my court hearing. This is my 3rd hearing because the doctor that handles the work comp side does never call in and never shows up. So in 2 weeks, I finally get that done. I actually filed work comp after that happened with no support from my work. Don't really want to talk much about that, but that's been ongoing for 9 years. You would think that the dedication to a company would mean the difference, but it doesn't. It's been a frightful experience. That will be another conversation. Here I am to let you guys know that for the last 10 years, I have been on every pain medication: fentanyl, Percocet, Norco, Vicodin, more than even that, taking more Motrin 800 than what we're supposed to due to liver damage, ice packs, creams, therapies, every single thing. You know, it wasn't until 2 years ago that actually I got a doctor that stated, has anybody ever told you you have PTSD? And I'm like, no, that's from military. You know, my husband's military. And so finding out that's why I was having anxiety, panic attacks, and nightmares every night where my husband was having to wake me up, trying to consider taking my life several times. Also having them give me medicine that actually caused me to stop breathing, almost lost my life. I've almost lost my life a total of 3 times on this adventure, and having reactions on other medications that almost caused me to lose my life. So I do have a lot of things that, by the grace of God, that I am here, and by such a supportive husband that has helped me through the whole process. But I do have a lot of resentment because my life that I love so much is gone, and I've had to learn how to have this new life to this new person that I probably would have never been this person. I would have been somebody that I loved. I had a love on life that was unbelievable. But here's why I'm here. I'm here because I have been researching the last couple years of why do we not get the help that we need from doctors, and what with this new now the Drug Administration has changed it due to the high profile deaths. I'm not going to mention any names. They've taken action on telling patients like us that have chronic anxiety and having intense pain that we can no longer have the two together. So you have to go off of one or the other. The problem with that is people have lost their lives right now due to that. Most of us cannot survive without our pain medicine because we could even go to the grocery store. We can't even dress ourselves. It's that bad. Later on, we'll have a whole topic on the different pain that we feel based on after I get several of you guys, to tell your story. It's over 200 symptoms of fibromyalgia. And with the research today, they have learned that it is more debilitating than most diseases out there, and millions of people suffer from this today. Okay, so let's get to this story before I need to make this video any longer. I've had all this history of all this medicine. 6, 7, 8 months ago, when they took the clozapam away from me, which was keeping my muscles from not tensing up so much, keeping my nervous system from actually not being so hyperactive because of benzoin, which is either Xanax, Valium, clozapam. It actually helps to slow down the nervous system. And when they took it away, I realized how much that was a fibromyalgia medication for me. That was helping me not have such a bad episode. When they took that away, panic attacks came back, nightmares came back, didn't want to leave my house, came back, started breaking down. I had a nervous breakdown completely. And my muscles tensed up so bad, I could not move my neck. I couldn't even lift my neck off the pillow. Might get a little choked up again, but I actually thought about taking my life again because the last 6 months, I told my husband that I lost the center self of who I was. I lost me. I didn't recognize who I was anymore. I was reaching out and trying to help other people during my story and realizing that people had lost their life because over this new drug administration law or rule that they made. And they did not find anything to replace our benzoids for our panic attack, our anxiety, or PTSD. They didn't find anything. All I kept saying is, go get on more depression medication. And that didn't work. And so I have so many people that I've talked to, it didn't work. And even my own mother is suffering right now. She's in Missouri, I'm in California, and I'm on a desperate battle to try to help her because I do not want her to follow to the bottom like I was. I was in the hospital since November of this last year till present 5 times. So I had the doctor finally tell me that if I went on this new medication called the Butrons patch, which is a form of opioid, but it's a different on how it approaches your pain receptors. It's also supposed to help you to not withdraw from your regular opioids that you're on. Being scared to death of it, but my life was in jeopardy. I had no choice anymore because if I did not go back on clozapam, I would die. If I did not have pain relief, I would die. I'm happy to say that tomorrow will be my 4th day. I want to just let you guys see. This is what it is called. Oh, sorry guys. See if I can push it up here. Hopefully I could look on the video. Am I pushing it up so you guys can see it right? Oh, I'm so sorry. I told you I was not good at this. Okay, hope you can see that. It completely looks upside down to me, but hopefully when I look at the video, this is the patch. And I'm sorry if it's upside down. I cannot tell for sure. Okay, so after being on it for 3 days, I called my doctor and I said, I can't take it. I was crying. I said, I'm in pain. My husband watched me and I could barely even walk to the restroom. And she said, okay, it may not be strong enough for you. And she's like, because I was still feeling withdrawals, but again, it was nothing like you would expect us to feel withdrawals. My body was reacting, my muscles were reacting, and I was so much in pain. So she told me to put on another patch, and I do know that you need to follow the doctor's instructions. I am day 3, and here I am able to speak to you guys with this encouragement since I got back on benzoids just the past 3 or 4 days. I feel hope again, and I feel like that this may be an answer. I'm hoping that with further days on this medication, that we can determine whether or not if this is something that's going to save our life. It's a patch that you wear that completely puts this into your system every hour on the hour. And to be honest with you, I'm so thankful to not be taking pain pills again, because when you're in pain, sometimes you lose track of how much you take. You have a month's supply, and we're not here to abuse our drugs. We're not what, people think we're abusive to our drugs. We're dependent on it because of side effects. We're dependent on it due to our pain. But you are not a drug abuser. A drug abuser is somebody who goes out and seeks medication when they don't need it, and they get it to get high. That is a drug abuser. So please understand right now that if you are on a pain medication, you're only dependent on that pain medication due to the fact that you are in pain, and that it's a shame that like a drug called opioids, after 7 days, 6 days for me, the side effects were that I would withdraw going off of it. And that's not fair to us, but I feel like you have this big old sign up here. You're disabled, you're in pain, you're a drug addict. Not true. Gonna stop this. And if anybody says it, don't even worry about it. We know the truth. And now even my pain management doctor set me straight about it. So I hope that you guys realize I want to hear your story, and I want to be here to help in any way that I can. I am not a doctor. I am only a person that has suffered, and that I am a survivor. And I talked to a lady just 2 days ago that her family member a month ago committed suicide over this, because the doctors just took her off and did not tell her where to go to get help. And I do not want to lose another life. Every one of you are very precious. You're meant to be here for a reason. You have more strength than what you will ever know. And so just only thing I can say, I'm new to this, and I don't even know, but everybody always says subscribe to the page so we can continue following up. I'm trying to learn the ins and outs of how you can contact me. I'm also going to get a Facebook group started as well as this, so I do not want to miss not one person. And my name's Karrie Newland, Karrie, last name Newland. You can find me on Facebook. I have probably Karrie Atkinson Newland. My middle name starts with an A, but you can find me, and pretty soon we're going to get a group started on there as well, because I want to interview you guys. I want to hear your stories. We're going to try to write a book that every one of you guys can be in that book. We need to be heard, and anybody that has lost their life, we are going to be the voice that speaks up for them. I love you guys. God bless you. Please hang on, because help is coming. I know that I'm not speaking religion, because everybody has their own right here, but everybody needs to understand, that we're not alone. And it takes one thing sometimes to make us feel hope. And I'm here to tell you that there is hope. So God bless. Love each and every one of you, and let's fight this battle together. You guys hang in there, please. Love you.